so much for that. And yeah, I guess comment down below maybe a player you already expect being traded at some point in time this season, or maybe a player you want your team to trade for. Definitely let me know down in the comments as well. So with that being said, make sure to check out last night's video if you want to, and let's get started. Alrighty, so I've just been basically looking at some reports from obviously Bleacher Report, but also I've been thinking and conjuring up some of my own trades in my mind about definitely some teams that early on in the season look like they may need to, make some adjustments already, which is already pretty crazy. We're already done with the first handful of games of the NBA, and teams are definitely looking pretty good. Some of them looking like they definitely need more help, and it's crazy this early on in the NBA season. We're already seeing some teams that, we can tell that just need a piece here and there, and they're going to be very, very, very complete. So, one of the trades they actually have here suggested is a player that probably is going to get moved at some point in time this season. It's Marvin Bagley from the Sacramento Kings. And obviously with the new guard trio they have down there in Sacramento with Davion Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, and obviously De'Aaron Fox, this team looked like it could be pretty competitive in the NBA. The night before the filming of this video, they played the Golden State Warriors, and that game was extremely competitive. They already beat Portland so far this season as well. They were extremely competitive against the Utah Jazz too, so they look like they could at least, have some say-so in the sort of play-in scenario, or maybe even make a playoff spot this year. I have no idea, but Marvin Bagley, they could get something back in return for him. I think in this Bleacher Report, they actually have Marvin Bagley being traded to the Orlando Magic in exchange for Terrence Ross. That's definitely not bad. I think definitely the thing that hurts the Kings most, well, not only that they don't have like a true, superstar, they have De'Aaron Fox, who, is an all-star caliber player. The team is very good. It's full of good role players. They just don't have like that guy yet until De'Aaron really sort of grows into that role a lot more. I think depth would be another thing they could really need, some veteran leadership in Terrence Ross. That could work, I think so. They do already have Harrison Barnes, who's definitely had a pretty good start to the NBA season so far this year. Adding Terrence Ross off the bench to that team, that could be very, very, very interesting, that's for sure. I think for me personally, adding maybe just more depth to the big spot. I mean, they do have Rashard Holmes, who's definitely not bad, and then they have Tristan Thompson, who's definitely not in his heyday anymore. Maybe adding a new big would actually be pretty beneficial to them. But I mean, their guard lineup is good. I mean, obviously with Harrison Barnes, now you had Terrence Ross. That's a really good scoring wing duo right there. Man, I like that. I like the trade a lot. Now with Marvin Bagley, I feel like he's still a player that can definitely get something in return for him. He was a top pick in years ago's draft, and I think just definitely didn't maybe get the attention that he really needed in order to grow into a really great player. Obviously with having, De'Aaron Fox for a handful of years, and then here comes Tyrese Halliburton, and then he's sort of the odd man out now. Been kind of weird, but this is not a bad trade. Marvin Bagley for Terrence Ross. Here's also another pretty interesting trade. I'm actually going to need to look up how many points per game this player's averaging, but it's actually a trade for Dallas, and it's the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously trading away Kristaps Porzingis, of course. It's always Kristaps Porzingis, and in this trade, they actually have Kristaps Porzingis going to the Houston Rockets. Yes, the Houston Rockets getting Kristaps Porzingis in exchange for Christian Wood. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, how do you feel about that? That's kind of interesting. They also get Eric Gordon in this hypothetical trade to sort of match a contract, so Dallas gets two pretty, I don't want to say veteran players, but two definitely play now ready guys. And then Houston gets more of an incomplete project still, and Kristaps Porzingis still needs to find his way in the NBA. That couldn't be, a bad duo for Jalen Green for a handful of years to come. I feel like that could definitely work out. Porzingis is already averaging about 14.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds. Definitely not a bad start to the NBA season, but definitely, I know a lot of people are hoping for, a little bit more from Kristaps at least. I mean, Dallas I think is 1-1 or 1-2 right now. They're definitely, looking okay. When I've seen them play, I did watch their first game against the Atlanta Hawks, and that was definitely a pretty rough game for Dallas, not gonna lie, but we'll see how it goes on from there, but definitely nothing too crazy. I think the Kristaps needing to get train needs to slow down a little bit again. I think we still need to wait maybe a handful more weeks to see how well Jason Kidd can really coach this team and see how well, Kristaps can get integrated into the offense a little bit more now that Rick Carlisle's gone. Maybe there's a new game plan. Hopefully we can see, an upwards of 20 point per game Kristaps Porzingis fairly soon. If not, then, a player like Christian Wood, and then also tying in Eric Gordon, a player who's a play now, win now, ready type of guy. That could be really important to Dallas. I really like this trade if it comes down to that, but I think as of right now, Kristaps, let's hold off on Kristaps trade talk for a little bit longer. After that, you can blow it wide open. Next up, they have a trade here for, of course, Kyrie Irving, and he's probably next to Ben Simmons as, the trade talk of the town in the NBA, and that's probably going to continue on for quite a long time, maybe a handful of months even. I have no idea. Seems like he's pretty sturdy in what he wants to do, and same thing with the Nets. We'll have to see who budges first on a trade or whatever happens with Kyrie. We'll have to find out, but in this hypothetical sense, and this is probably one of the worst trades I've ever seen in my life, they have, because it doesn't make any sense, they trade Kyrie Irving to the Los Angeles Clippers for Eric Gordon, Luke Kennard, Kenan Johnson, a first-round pick, and multiple second-round picks. But that doesn't fix the problem. He would get traded to a place where he would still need to make up his mind about, it wouldn't fix the problem at all. So let's just scrap that trade. And I think, of course, Kyrie Irving getting traded is definitely a very viable option. It just depends on where he wants to go. I mean, of course, Florida, Texas are already big time sort of names and places that he could go to. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks, that's a pretty interesting one. If, Kristaps Porzingis wants to get traded to Brooklyn, I have no idea how that would even work, but with, already having Kevin Durant, who kind of plays the 4, and then you have to put in Kristaps, who maybe would start at the 5, but then they already sort of promised that spot to Nicholas Claxton. That'd be kind of weird, but also Kyrie handling the ball alongside Luka Doncic. I think Luka Doncic needs another, ball handling superstar to play alongside him. Look at Houston Rockets. What would the Brooklyn Nets get back? I mean, Eric Gordon, that's a good start, but again, you would have to trade for Christian Wood, and then again, that whole Nicholas Claxton situation comes back up again. I don't know, and then also with the Florida teams, I mean, Orlando, who do they really have? You'd have to trade for an injury-prone Markelle Fultz, and then an injury-prone Jonathan Isaac, you know what I mean? It's just, it's tough. It's very, very tough. You have to get traded to a place that would really, let him play, and I don't think there's a lot of spots for him to do that, and the spots that he could go don't really have assets to trade back for a player like Kyrie Irving, who averaged 28 points per game last year, so really tough situation. Do I think he will get traded? I think no. I think they're going to stay and somehow find a solution to this problem. But if not, I mean, I have no idea what Brooklyn's going to do, because already Brooklyn, is not looking bad, but definitely really struggling with the readjustment of thinking, oh my god, we might not have Kyrie for the whole year this year, so we're going to have to see how that goes. But I think Kyrie getting traded, not likely, but for possibilities, I would have no idea where he would even go. Next up, we actually have the numero uno trade talk guy of the town, and it's Ben Simmons. And this trade is actually fairly interesting, at least in my eyes. It's Ben Simmons getting traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, Cleveland gets another big type of player in exchange for Colin Sexton, Kevin Love, first round pick and another first round pick. So 2 first round picks, Kevin Love, Colin Sexton in exchange for Ben Simmons. Why do I like this trade so much? I actually really like this trade for both teams. Because obviously you get off Kevin Love's contract, and it gets a big off of the rotation for their already big Cleveland Cavaliers with Laurie and Mobley and Jared Allen. You have Kevin Love there. Now you switch that out with Ben Simmons, who plays obviously more of a guard role. And then you get Colin Sexton in return for him, who's, a 20 plus point per game, just absolute scoring minded guard who can stretch the floor. He's not the best shooter, but he is a capable 3-point shooter, definitely a scoring threat nonetheless. Interesting. The only thing I don't really like about this would be that Colin Sexton isn't really a true point guard. He's definitely more of a combo guard if he would be placed the 2 guard mostly. I think in Cleveland, I think Darius Garland is more of the point guard of that team, but in order to play for the Philadelphia 76ers, you gotta feed Joel Embiid, and if you can't feed Joel Embiid, that's where the troublesome spots sort of occur. So, I mean, if this is a handful of months or weeks into the NBA and still no talks of coming up with Ben Simmons for a superstar type of guy, then I think this is a really good sort of safe spot for them, because again, Colin Sexton, a 20-point per game scorer, can't shoot the ball, can't stretch the floor, can score on his own. And then you also get Kevin Love, who will also stretch the floor a lot. He can come off the bench when the Tobias Harris isn't in the game. You get 2 first-round picks. That's not bad. I think this is not that bad. Also with Cleveland and Ben Simmons, Cleveland has their next, I guess, go-to guy they can really start building around with. Him, Mobley, Darius Garland. Not the worst scenario for Ben Simmons either. So, I mean, this isn't a number 1 option for Ben Simmons, no doubt about it, but for a pretty desperate sort of case scenario, not terrible. I also know that obviously Daryl Morey has come out to say that this situation could last even after this NBA season, which would be so stupid if Daryl Morey waited years to trade Ben Simmons. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if they waited 2 or 3 seasons for them to trade Ben Simmons and just let Joel Embiid rot? Well, not rot, but struggle in Philadelphia for years. That would be insane. But anyways, I mean, of course, there's so many different trade possibilities with Ben Simmons. I mean, of course, there's I think I remember hearing something about the Spurs very early on in the season, offering DeJounte Murray, Derek White, a couple first-round picks to really get the Spurs next sort of, again, I don't want to compare him to Tim Duncan or Kawhi, but their next sort of it cornerstone player, and again, really good for the Spurs. Not really sure if that's what the Sixers want in return for, Ben Simmons is just a defensive-minded guard, and DeJounte. Derek White's a good shooter. I think I'd maybe take the Colin Sexton trade over that. I'm not entirely sure. Also, of course, CJ McCollum. Just the straight-up swap of CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons, and, if I'm being completely honest, CJ McCollum is playing as the best player in Portland right now. I mean, Damian, you can tell, definitely has a different role in this new Chauncey Billups sort of, coaching scheme. Obviously, of course, before with the old coach, Terry Stotts, his game plan was give Damian the ball and please God save me. You know what I mean? That was his old coaching style. Chauncey is definitely getting more team involvement. If you saw the game against Phoenix, that's what blew the Phoenix Suns out of the water, was the ball movement, the player involvement, the different players being able to score and have different opportunities. Not just Damian having to score 30 plus points per game in order to Portland to have a shot. I wouldn't switch that up or anything until, again, a handful of weeks or months into the season. Then we can sort of have that talk. But as of right now, definitely the trade, CJ McCollum trade, has to put on hold. Let's see what Chauncey Billups can do to this team. Again, what I thought was maybe the best case scenario for the 76ers 76ers for a little bit was the Pacers and trading away like TJ Warren and LeVert, or LeVert and Brogdon, or Brogdon and TJ Warren, some sort of combination of those two guys, three guys. That would have been pretty interesting, but again, Brogdon signed an extension with the Pacers, so he's pretty much out of the conversation. And then with TJ Warren and LeVert, they're still hurt, and who knows when they would be able to come back. And then you already have an injury-prone player in the Sixers locker room with Joel Embiid. It's very tough to be a Sixers fan and knowing when or what's going to happen. They're already playing pretty decently without Ben Simmons. I think, of course, Tyrese Maxey is a great sort of backup savior for the point guard spot for the 76ers as of right now. But yeah, you can get some really good pieces for Ben Simmons. You don't have to hit the home run and get, like, again, a Lillard, a Bradley Beal. You can get back two really, really, really good pieces, and your team is even deeper and maybe even better without Ben Simmons, with just two really good fit rotation pieces. I have no idea. It's pretty tough to tell though. Sorry, this video just really turned into like a Ben Simmons video for a second, but sorry about that. But just a couple of like fastball players. I know Goran Dragic in Toronto is also a player that's been talked about a lot in sort of recent trade, the trade market, I guess. I think he'll probably most likely will just get bought out. Same thing with Derek Favors, who's definitely a more win now, ready big, playing in OKC right now. I think he's also a player who's going to get bought out at some point in time. But yeah, I think that's mostly it for like the big time guys that I can think of that really need to get sort of a readjustment trade, I would have to say. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are there other players in the NBA that are struggling with the team, have been struggling for a long time with the team? Just an interesting trade that should happen. I don't know. I mean, Russell Westbrook, I guess, could also be in that conversation. I said this before in my live stream a handful of days ago. Could you imagine if the Lakers did what Cleveland did a handful of years ago when they got Isaiah Thomas in exchange for Kyrie Irving? And what if the Lakers have to trade Russell Westbrook for like a handful of role players? Is that going to be enough for them to win a title? I have no idea, but again, Russell Westbrook, he's also on that train. I'm like, whoa, let's just see what happens, because, he's definitely not doing terrible. He's just not doing what people were expecting of Russell Westbrook. People were expecting, 25 point per game, triple-double Russell Westbrook, when in reality, he doesn't really need to be that anymore. He just needs to be a reliable player. He's averaging 12 points, about 8 rebounds, and 9 assists, so not, again, those are really solid stats. Just not what Russell Westbrook was expecting to do. So, again, if he can hopefully get that sort of more consistent, more reliable play style back, I think that'd be really good for them. But for trading Russell Westbrook, I mean, could you even trade Russell Westbrook? I have no idea. That's pretty tough. But anyways, this is probably a pretty quick video, but I just wanted to catch in with you guys on some early NBA trade talk. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know down in the comments some interesting trade pieces in the NBA already this season. Make sure to check out last night's video. It was a 2K rebuild. That was a lot of fun. You guys really enjoyed that video, so thank you guys so much for that. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, like the video, all that jazz, and I'll see you again in my video very, 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 very soon, guys. I love you, and I'll see you then.